Dr. Hansol Park wiped the sweat from his forehead as he watched Rajani, the sanctuary's oldest elephant, stack large wooden blocks into a perfect pyramid. The hot Thai sun beat down on the Korean-Phi wildlife sanctuary, but neither the scientist nor the elephant seemed to mind the heat. "Remarkable," he muttered, making notes on his tablet. "She's solving puzzles faster than ever before." Rajani picked up the final block with her trunk, carefully placing it at the top of the pyramid. She then stepped back, as if admiring her work, before turning to Hansol with expectant eyes. "Yes, yes, you clever girl." He pulled out a fresh watermelon from his cooler. "You've earned this." As Rajani happily munched on her treat, the sky suddenly darkened. Hansol looked up, expecting rain clouds, but what he saw made him drop his tablet. 3 massive ships, each shaped like giant silver leaves, had appeared above the sanctuary. They moved silently, casting enormous shadows over the trees and buildings. Other animals in the sanctuary began making noise. Monkeys screamed, birds took flight, and the younger elephants trumpeted in confusion. But not Rajani. She stopped eating and stared at the ships with an intensity Hansol had never seen before. Her ears spread wide, and she raised her trunk, taking in their scent. "It's okay, girl," Hansol said softly, though his heart was racing. "They're probably just." His phone buzzed with an emergency alert. "ATTNTIVON. Unknown vessels have entered Earth's atmosphere. They are currently positioned over major wildlife reserves across the globe. Citizens are advised to remain calm and await further instructions." More alerts followed. The ships were scanning the planet's surface. They showed no interest in human cities or military bases. Instead, they focused on areas with high concentrations of wildlife. Director Subin's voice crackled over the sanctuary speakers. "All staff, please secure your areas and make your way to the main building. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Hansol reached for Rajani's guide rope, but she pulled away. She was still watching the ships, her body completely still except for her moving trunk. Then she did something that made Hansol's scientific mind race. She began pushing the wooden blocks she had just stacked into a new pattern. "What are you doing?" he whispered, filming with his phone. Rajani arranged the blocks in a circle, then placed 3 blocks in the middle, pointing upward. Hansol's eyes widened as he realized. She had created a rough model of the 3 ships in the sky. A beam of pale blue light suddenly shot down from one of the ships, sweeping across the sanctuary. Animals scattered, but Rajani stood her ground. When the beam passed over her, she trumpeted so loudly that the windows of nearby buildings rattled. It wasn't a trumpet of fear. Hansol had studied elephant calls for 15 years. This was a warning call, a territorial challenge. He had heard Rajani make this sound before, but never with such force. That's when Hansol realized something that sent chills down his spine. Rajani wasn't afraid of the ships. She was angry at them, and she was smart enough to understand exactly what they represented, intruders in her territory. As if responding to her challenge, all 3 ships moved to hover directly over the sanctuary. The air hummed with strange energy, and Hansol's phone died in his hand. The aliens had arrived, but they had no idea they'd just challenged one of Earth's most intelligent and territorial creatures. And Rajani, still standing tall with her ears spread wide, was ready to show them exactly what that meant. The main building of the Korean-Phi Wildlife Sanctuary buzzed with nervous energy as staff gathered in the conference room. Ji-won, Hansol's research partner, played the video he had taken of Rajani's reaction to the ships. "Look at how she arranges the blocks," Ji-won said, pointing to the screen. "She's not just seeing the ships, she's understanding their formation." Director Subin leaned forward in her chair. "And you say she didn't run when the scan beam passed over her?" "Not only did she not run," Hansol added, "she challenged them, like they were rival elephants in her territory." A loud hum filled the air, making everyone look up. Through the large windows, they watched as a smaller ship descended from one of the leaf-shaped vessels. It landed in the sanctuary's main field, right where they usually held the elephant demonstrations. "They're here," Subin said quietly. She turned to her staff. "Remember our emergency protocols. No sudden movements. No weapons. We're a wildlife sanctuary, not a military base." The alien ship's door opened with a soft hiss. 3 tall figures stepped out, their bodies covered in what looked like flowing silver leaves. Their faces were long and gentle, with large eyes set wide apart. The leader raised a hand in greeting. When it spoke, its words came through some kind of translator. "I am Commander Duvyan. We come seeking knowledge of Earth's great beasts." Hansol noticed something odd about their movement. They stepped carefully, like deer in an open field. These aliens, despite their advanced technology, showed all the signs of being prey animals. "Welcome to Earth," Subin said, stepping forward. "I am Director Subin of the Korean HFY Wildlife Sanctuary. Your planet interests us," Duvyan said, "particularly your large mammals. We have not seen their like in our travels." A thunderous trumpet cut through the air. Rajani had left her enclosure and was walking toward the meeting area, each step deliberate and proud. The aliens moved closer together, their bodies tense. "Fascinating," one of them whispered, "a perfect example of primitive defensive behavior." Hansol and Ji-1 exchanged looks. They both knew Rajani was anything but primitive. She stopped 30 feet from the aliens and began drawing in the dirt with her trunk. "Impossible," the third alien gasped as Rajani finished her drawing. "A perfect copy of their ship's landing pattern." "Not impossible," Ji-1 said firmly. "She's showing you she understands what you are and where you came from." Commander Doyen stepped forward, intrigued but cautious. "You suggest this creature has higher intelligence." Before anyone could answer, Rajani picked up a fallen branch and held it like a tool. Then, to everyone's amazement, she began to trace the same symbols that decorated the alien suits. "She's been watching us," Doyen said, his translator failing to hide the shock in his voice. "Learning." "No," Hansol corrected. "She's been studying you. There's a difference, and I don't think she likes what she's learned." As if to confirm his words, Rajani dropped the branch and raised her trunk again. This time, her trumpet wasn't just a warning. It was a challenge that echoed across the sanctuary. And from the surrounding forest came answering calls from other elephants, a chorus that made the alien visitors take several steps back toward their ship. The first contact was complete, but it was becoming clear that the alien study of Earth might not go as smoothly as they had planned. Night fell over the sanctuary, but no one slept. The alien ships hung in the sky like glowing leaves, casting a silver light over the grounds. Rajani stood at the highest point of her enclosure, watching them. She hadn't moved from that spot for hours. Hansol and Ji-1 worked in their research station, reviewing footage of the day's events. Director Subin entered, carrying 3 cups of coffee. "The aliens have set up research stations in other sanctuaries," Subin said, setting down the cups. "But none of the other elephants are acting like Rajani." "That's because Rajani is special," Ji-1 said, pointing to a screen showing the elephant's brain activity. "Look at these patterns. They're unlike anything we've ever recorded." A loud crash from outside made them jump. Through the window, they saw Rajani pushing a large fallen tree across her enclosure's boundary. "She's building something," Hansol said, grabbing his camera. Again. Over the next hour, they watched as Rajani methodically gathered fallen trees, rocks, and even the large enrichment toys from her enclosure. She arranged them in a pattern that seemed random at first. "Wait," Ji-1 said suddenly. "Pull up the satellite view of the sanctuary." When they did, everything became clear. Rajani had created a perfect copy of the sanctuary's layout on a smaller scale, complete with marking where each alien research station had been set up. Commander Doyan appeared at their door. "Your beast is displaying unusual behavior." "She's not just displaying it," Hansol said. "She's warning you." As if on cue, Rajani began systematically destroying her model. She started with the spots marking alien stations, crushing them with careful, deliberate movements. A threat? Duyon's translator crackled with concern. A demonstration, Jai-1 corrected. She's showing you what will happen if you cross her boundaries. More elephants emerged from the forest, gathering behind Rajani. They moved in perfect formation, following her lead. The aliens' instruments began beeping wildly. Impossible, Duyan whispered. They're communicating on frequencies similar to our ship's signals. Rajani learned your technology's frequency by watching your scanners, Han Sol explained. Now she's teaching the others. Rajani raised her trunk and touched one of the scanning beams. Instead of pulling back, she held her trunk in the light, moving it in patterns that matched the aliens' own communication signals. She's not just warning you, Subin said to the increasingly nervous commander. She's telling you she understands exactly what you are and what you can do. And she's not impressed. The other elephants began moving in complex patterns, avoiding scan beams while staying in perfect formation. Each movement seemed designed to show not fear, but defiance. Perhaps, Duyan said slowly, we should reconsider our research methods. But it was too late. Rajani had already decided these visitors had overstayed their welcome in her territory, and she was about to show them exactly what an angry, intelligent elephant could do. The aliens made their first mistake at dawn. They tried to set up a specimen collection station near Rajani's favorite mud pool. Within minutes, every piece of their equipment was mysteriously covered in thick, sticky mud. Their sensors stopped working. Their screens went dark, and in the trees above, a family of monkeys chittered and laughed, their hands still dirty from helping Rajani spread the mud. Fascinating, Han Sol said, watching through his binoculars. She's using other animals to help her. Jai-1 nodded, making notes. The monkeys follow her lead because she shares fruit with them. She's built alliances. The aliens' second mistake came at noon. They tried to land a small research ship near the elephant enclosure. Before it could touch down, vines and branches mysteriously appeared in its landing zone. The ship had to pull up quickly to avoid crashing. Rajani stood nearby, looking innocent despite the fresh marks on her tusks from pulling down the branches. Your elephant, Commander Doyen said to Han Sol, is becoming a problem. No, Han Sol replied. Your invasion of her territory is the problem. Rajani is just solving it. The aliens' third mistake was the biggest. They tried to take a young elephant calf for study. Before their beam could lock on, Rajani appeared with 5 other adult elephants. They formed a wall around the calf, then did something incredible. Each elephant picked up a large rock with their trunk. Together, they hurled the rocks at the alien ship's sensors, hitting them with perfect aim. The ship's beam flickered and died. That's impossible, one of the alien scientists cried. They're coordinating their attacks. Not just coordinating, Jai-1 said proudly. They're using geometry. Rajani taught them the exact angle to throw the rocks to hit your sensors. Director Subin called an emergency meeting. The aliens sat on one side of the room, looking worried. The sanctuary staff sat on the other, trying not to smile. In 6 hours, Subin announced, your equipment has been disabled, your ship's damaged, and your research completely stopped. All by one elephant and her friends. Through the window, they could see Rajani teaching younger elephants how to use sticks to disable the aliens' ground sensors. She demonstrated once, then watched as they practiced. She's not just protecting the sanctuary, Han Sol realized. She's teaching others to protect it too. She's creating a defense force. Commander Doyen watched as another piece of their equipment was skillfully disabled by a young elephant. Perhaps, he said slowly, we should consider a different approach. A trumpet of victory echoed across the sanctuary. Rajani had won the first battle, and she was just getting started. Tai Young, the sanctuary's newest researcher, noticed it first. While reviewing security footage, he saw something strange. Rajani wasn't just fighting the aliens, she was copying them. Look here, he said, showing the video to Hansol and Ji-won. When their ships send signals, she moves her trunk in the same pattern. She's learning their language. The footage showed Rajani standing under an alien scanner. Each time it beeped, she made a specific sound. After 10 tries, the scanner responded to her sounds. She had cracked their code. She's not just smart, Ji-won said, amazed. She's teaching herself alien technology. In the field, Rajani gathered her elephant family. They watched as she demonstrated how to make sounds that confused the alien sensors. The younger elephants learned quickly, turning it into a game. Commander Do-hyun observed from a safe distance. In all our travels, he said to Hansol, we've never seen animals learn our technology. It's disturbing. Only because you thought Earth's creatures were simple, Hansol replied. Rajani is proving you wrong. The next morning, Rajani did something that shocked everyone. She approached the alien ship and began making a series of complex sounds. The ship's lights flickered in response. She's not just copying anymore, Tae-young said excitedly. She's talking to them. The aliens rushed to their computers. Their screens showed Rajani's sounds matched their communication patterns perfectly. She had learned their basic language. Through the translator, they heard her message. This ground. My family. You watch only. No take. No hurt. Or I stop you. The aliens were speechless. An Earth animal had just given them an ultimatum in their own language. Remarkable, Ji-won whispered. The alien's presence didn't just challenge her. It made her smarter. She evolved to meet the threat. Director Soo-bin called for an immediate meeting with Commander Do-hyun. Your presence has sparked something unprecedented, she said. Rajani isn't just protecting her territory anymore. She's bridging the gap between our species. Outside, Rajani continued teaching other elephants the alien signals. Each successful try earned happy trumpets from the whole group. They were learning, adapting, growing smarter. Perhaps, Commander Do-hyun said, watching the elephants practice, we should stop treating Earth's creatures as study subjects and start treating them as equals. Rajani turned to look at him, her eyes full of intelligence. She raised her trunk and made the alien signal for agreement. The universe had just become a much more interesting place. Captain Hyun-ki arrived with the rising sun. His ship was darker than the others, covered in scanning equipment and collection tools. He didn't come to study. He came to take. Commander Do-hyun's methods are too soft, he announced. These creatures must be collected for proper research, starting with the intelligent one. Hansol tried to protest, but Hyun-ki's guards pushed him aside. They surrounded Rajani's enclosure with floating capture devices. But Rajani was ready. She had seen their ship's weak spots. She had learned their patterns. And she had prepared. At her signal, dozens of elephants burst from the forest. They split into 3 groups, just as she had trained them. The first group sprayed mud at the ship's sensors, blocking their view. The second group threw water-soaked branches at the electrical systems, causing shorts. Stop them, Hyun-ki shouted. They're just animals. The third group of elephants revealed Rajani's cleverness. They carried large vines woven into nets, copies of the aliens' capture tools. As Hyun-ki's ships tried to dodge the mud and water, they flew right into the nets. Impossible, Hyun-ki whispered. They've copied our technology using plants. Rajani trumpeted commands, and her army moved like a perfect machine. Young elephants disabled ground sensors. Older ones protected the young. Every move showed careful planning. Your elephant, Ji-won said to the shocked captain, just beat you at your own game. Commander Do-hyun arrived at the scene. Captain Hyun-ki, you were warned. This sector is under peaceful observation only. Peaceful? Hyun-ki scoffed. These beasts attacked us. As if understanding him, Rajani drew in the dirt with her trunk. The alien's translator decoded her marks. You attack. We defend. Simple. The other elephants gathered behind her, a wall of gray guardians. In the trees, monkeys held more mud balls. Birds circled, ready to dive. Rajani had united the entire sanctuary against the invaders. "Captain," Duyan said firmly, "your mission here is over. These creatures have earned their territory. They've proven themselves more advanced than we thought." Hyumki looked at his mud-covered ships, his shorted equipment, his tangled capture devices. He had been defeated by an elephant who turned his own tactics against him. "Perhaps," he admitted quietly, "we should rethink how we study other worlds." Rajani raised her trunk in victory, spraying water over the fallen capture devices. The message was clear. Earth's creatures wouldn't be easy test subjects. They would be equal partners in the universe, or they would be fierce defenders of their home. The news spread across the alien fleet like wildfire. Their most advanced capture team had been defeated by an elephant, not with advanced weapons, but with mud, water, and vines. Commander Doyen stood before the alien council, showing videos of Rajani's tactics. "She didn't just fight us," he explained. "She studied us, learned from us, and taught others to do the same." The council watched as the footage showed Rajani organizing the sanctuary's defense. She had created a perfect system. Monkeys watched from trees and gave alerts, birds scouted from above, and elephants worked in teams to protect their home. But how did she learn so fast? One council member asked. Hansol stepped forward to answer. The aliens had invited him to speak after seeing his research. "Rajani was always smart," he said, "but your arrival pushed her to show just how intelligent she really was." Jai-1 added her findings. "She learned your language in days. She taught other elephants your technology in weeks. She created tools based on your designs using only what she could find in nature." The council murmured in amazement as they watched new footage. Rajani was teaching young elephants to draw alien symbols in the dirt. She had created a school. "In all our travels," the head counselor said, "we found many species, but none who could learn and adapt so quickly." Tai Young shared his latest discovery. The other elephants are now teaching these skills to elephants in different sanctuaries. They're spreading knowledge across the planet. A new video showed elephants in Africa using the same tactics Rajani had developed. They worked together to protect their territories, just as she had taught. "We came to study Earth's creatures," Dugan said. "Instead, they studied us, and they learned faster than we ever expected." The council reached a decision. Earth's wildlife sanctuaries would be marked as protected zones. No capture missions would be allowed. Instead, they would set up peaceful observation posts with the animals' permission. Back at the sanctuary, Rajani watched the alien ships change their positions. They moved away from the capture points and settled into the observation zones she had marked as acceptable. She raised her trunk and made the alien signal for a wise choice. The universe had just learned an important lesson. Intelligence comes in many forms, and sometimes the best teacher has 4 legs and a very long nose. 6 months after the aliens' first arrival, the Korean Thai Wildlife Sanctuary had changed. Glass domes now floated above the trees, where alien scientists worked alongside human researchers. But they only watched and learned. No one dared to interfere. Hansol sat in the new observation tower, writing his latest report. "Earth's first interspecies ambassador," the title read. Below, Rajani was teaching a class. Yes, a class. Alien students sat beside human researchers, watching in wonder as the elephant explained complex ideas through signals and drawings. She had mastered both human and alien languages, creating a bridge between species. Today's lesson is about respect. Jai-1 translated for the aliens. Rajani drew 3 circles in the dirt, one for humans, one for aliens, and one for Earth's animals. Then she drew lines connecting them all. "She's teaching them about balance," Director Subin explained to the alien council members who had come to observe. "How different species can live together without trying to control each other." The aliens had changed too. They no longer saw Earth's creatures as simple beings to study. Rajani had taught them that intelligence didn't need spaceships or advanced technology. It just needed a chance to grow. Tai Young's research showed something amazing. Elephants worldwide were getting smarter. Rajani's teachings had spread, and elephants everywhere were learning to communicate in new ways. We came to study them, Commander Doyen said, watching Rajani solve a complex alien puzzle. But they ended up teaching us. In the field, young elephants played with alien children, using sign language they had created together. Monkeys helped alien scientists collect plant samples, getting treats in return. Birds carried messages between research stations. The sanctuary had become Earth's first school of interplanetary cooperation, and at its heart was Rajani, the elephant who had shown the universe that wisdom could come from unexpected places. "What's the most important lesson you've learned?" a young alien student asked Rajani through the translator. Rajani picked up a stick with her trunk and wrote in 3 languages: human, alien, and elephant sign. Smart is not about who you are. Smart is about how you learn. And everyone can learn if they try. The sun set over the sanctuary, casting golden light on the alien domes and Earth's trees. In this light, it was hard to tell where one world ended and another began. And that, Rajani seemed to say with her proud stance, was exactly the point. Sometimes it takes an angry elephant to teach the universe about peace.